Raymond was a quiet and brilliant man who lived in a colony on planet Vorta 3, far from Earth. He was known across the colonies as the man who created machines that saved lives. His house was built in the middle of Nova Ridge, a beautiful dome city protected by glass walls and security towers. But what people loved most about him was not his inventions. It was his love for his only son, Milo. Milo was just 11 years old. He was bright, curious, and full of questions. Every morning, he walked near the green gardens inside the dome, watched the sunrise over the glass ceiling, and fed the little birds that flew freely within the habitat. But one morning, everything changed. Raymond woke up early, made tea, and waited for Milo to return from his usual walk. Time passed. The tea got cold. Raymond walked outside to look for him, thinking maybe he was playing or lost in thoughts again. He checked the garden paths, the robot workshop, the food station. But Milo was not there. Then, near the east gate, a small metal box lay on the ground. It was blinking red. Raymond picked it up. As soon as he touched it, a message played through a small speaker. "We have your son. Do not inform anyone. Wait for our next message. If you try to find him, you will never see him again." Raymond's hands began to shake. His face turned pale. For the first time in years, the man known for building unbreakable machines felt completely broken. Raymond took the box to his lab and scanned it for clues. There were no fingerprints, no signal, nothing. Whoever had taken Milo was careful and smart. He rushed to the Nova Ridge Council, a group of colony leaders. They listened to him but told him to remain calm. "Maybe it's a prank," one member said. "Let the security bot search the area," another suggested. But Raymond had already made up his mind. "I don't trust systems anymore," he said. "I'm not going to sit here and wait." He walked out of the council hall, climbed to the top of the broadcast tower, and turned on the emergency speaker system that reached every home and street in Nova Ridge. The entire colony heard his voice echo across the dome. "This is Raymond. My son Milo has been taken. The people who did this think they can scare me into silence. I will not be silent. I offer $4 million credits to whoever finds my son and brings justice to those who took him. Alive or not, I just want to know the truth. I don't care who you are. If you can help, come to me." The message shocked the people. Many didn't believe it at first. A few thought Raymond had lost his mind. But others, hunters, ex-soldiers, explorers, and even simple people, began preparing their ships. Word spread fast, far beyond Nova Ridge. In the next 2 days, people started arriving in the colony. The spaceport was full of strange ships. Some had battle marks, others were patched together with scrap metal. The people inside them were all different, but they had one goal: find Milo. Among the crowd, a man named Tariq walked alone. He wore a hood and carried only a light bag. No one knew where he came from, but the way he moved, silent, careful, always watching, told others he was not new to danger. In another corner, a woman named Nia was repairing a scanner. Her hands were fast, her eyes sharper than steel. She used to build stealth ships for unknown groups, but left that life behind after losing her brother in a war. Then came Bio, a man with a strong back and kind heart. Once a farmer, he had become a scout after his home was destroyed in a storm. He saw a picture of Milo and remembered his own little girl, who had died during a space fire 5 years ago. Not everyone who came to Nova Ridge had good intentions. A few had dark thoughts. Maybe they could find the kidnappers, take a piece of the money, or even strike deals with them. But they hid their greed behind fake smiles. Meanwhile, Raymond locked himself inside his lab. He didn't sleep. He didn't eat much. He started working on a new machine. Small, fast, and smart. He called it the Seeker. It would fly through space, read signals, and track movements. It was more than a drone. It was a hunter, built with a father's pain and hope. Every Few hours he paused to stare at Milo's picture on the wall. "I'm coming for you," he whispered. Milo, unknown to his father, was alive, but far away. He sat in a small metal room inside a ship that moved slowly through a dark part of space. The room had no windows, just lights that flickered now. And then, the people guarding him wore black masks and never spoke in full sentences. Milo was scared, but not broken. He had his father's brain and spirit. Each day, he watched and listened. He noticed which guard had keys. He saw where they kept food. He even found a tiny metal nail under his bed and hid it in his sock. He was waiting for the right time. Back on Nova Ridge, the real hunt was about to begin. Ships were fueling. Clues were being shared. Questions flew from every corner of the colony. Raymond came out of his lab and looked at the sky. Dozens of ships floated above the dome. His voice reached them again through the tower. "This is not just about my son. This is about making sure no child is ever taken again. Whoever helps, I will reward. But remember, this is not a game." The wind was silent. But inside that silence, a storm was growing. And far beyond the colony, young Milo blinked as he heard a sound, a whisper through a vent. Asterisk. Raymond's message did not stay in Nova Ridge. It traveled far across the galaxy, through deep space communication towers, pirate radio stations, and cargo ships heading toward the edge of known space. Everywhere people heard it. 4 million. Credits for justice. In distant corners of space, people stopped what they were doing. Some were shocked, some were excited, and some were greedy. On the dusty moon of Kira 7, a group of old mercenaries watched the message on a cracked screen. One of them laughed. "This Raymond must be rich. I say we find the boy and name our price." On a trade station near the rings of planet Euron, a woman in dark gloves leaned forward. She didn't smile, but her eyes lit up. 4 million, she whispered. "That could buy me a whole planet." And in a quiet cabin in the mountains of Nova Ridge, a man named Tariq packed his bag without saying a word. He didn't need the money. He just needed a reason. Back in Nova Ridge, Raymond's house became a busy place. His lab was full of tools, machines and flying cameras. The Seeker drone was nearly complete. Small, round and silver, it could track heat signals and bounce through narrow passages. Raymond tested it every few hours, improving its speed and focus. He didn't speak much to the people who came to help, but he gave each of them access to maps, past footage, and the voice message that had played from the kidnapper's box. Message was short but clear. "We have your son. Do not contact anyone." Wait, the voice was robotic. Not real. Raymond had tried to decode it, but the signal had been wiped. Still, he noticed one strange thing. At the very end of the recording, there was a faint clicking sound. He played it again and again, and finally realized it was a bird chirping. That meant the message had been recorded near the gardens, before the kidnappers left the dome. Raymond shared this with the people who had come. "Start there," he said. "Look for clues." Bio, the strong man who used to be a farmer, went straight to the outer garden trails. He had lived on land before he came to Nova Ridge. He knew how to read footprints, broken branches, and crushed leaves. And there, hidden behind a patch of tall red grass, he found a small piece of cloth. It was dark, torn, and smelled of engine oil. Bio picked it up and carefully packed it. "This didn't come from the colony," he said. "Someone from outside was here." Nia, the smart engineer, chose to work from the space station above Nova Ridge. She hacked into the dome's air traffic logs. All ships that landed or took off were recorded. But the night of the kidnapping, there was a gap, a blackout, she told the others. Someone shut down the sensor logs for 12 minutes. That meant the kidnappers had inside help, someone who knew how to block signals and erase records. Nia dug deeper and found something strange. One small ship had left just after the blackout. It didn't belong to anyone in the colony. Its ID number was fake, but its route was clear. It flew toward the outer rings of Sector 9G, an area known for being empty and full of space rocks. Could be pirates, Nia said. Could be a hideout. She copied the route and sent it to Raymond. Tariq, meanwhile, moved alone. He didn't trust groups. He walked quietly through the colony, asking simple questions to guards, traders, and cleaning bots. At one fuel stop here, the garden wall, he met a robot named Bolt who worked the night shift. Did you see anything strange the night the boy disappeared? Tariq asked. Bolt's screen blinked. 2 figures, no faces. No words. They carried a large box, placed it near the gate. Tariq's eyes narrowed. Did you scan them? No ID detected, Bolt replied. They wore jammer suits. Which way did they go? Toward the east launch platform, Bolt said. Tariq thanked the bot and left. Now 3 clues pointed in the same direction. The east side of the colony, near the garden, near the hidden launch point. Something happened there. Far away from Nova Ridge, inside a small alien freighter floating in Sector 9G, Melo sat in a corner. He hadn't spoken in hours, but his eyes were sharp. The room was cold, and the air smelled like old wires. 2 guards stood outside his door, never talking, but Milo had noticed something. One of the guards, a young man named Lorne, sometimes looked nervous. Unlike the others, he didn't wear a full mask. Milo had once seen him staring at a photo in his pocket, a picture of a child. That gave Milo an idea. The next time Lorne brought food, Milo looked at him and said softly, "I'm scared." "You have a kid?" Lorne froze. He didn't answer, but his hands shook slightly. He placed the food down and walked away quickly. That was a start. Back at Nova Ridge, Raymond stood in front of his team. On a large screen, he showed a map of Sector 9G. It was a wide, dangerous part of space, full of rocks, mining debris, and old shipwrecks. Nia pointed to a blinking red dot. That's the ship that left after the blackout. It stopped in this sector, then nothing. Raymond looked at Tariq, Nia, and Bo. "This is your trail," he said. "If you take this mission, you must understand, this is not just about reward. It's about bringing back my son. Or at least, bringing back the truth." Tariq nodded. Nia smiled slightly. Bo clenched his fists. They were ready. As they left the meeting room, the seeker drone floated into the air and followed them. Raymond watched it go, a small light in a big sky. Then he whispered to himself, "Hold on, Milo, we're coming." The ship floated like a shadow through the dark parts of Sector 9G. Dusty rocks, broken satellites, and old mining equipment surrounded it. The engines were quiet, running low to avoid attention. Inside, Milo sat in silence, counting the minutes. Didn't know where he was exactly, but he knew this ship was far from Nova Ridge. He had learned a few things. The people guarding him were not aliens. They were humans. But they didn't speak much, and they covered their faces. Only one of them, Lorne, the young guard, ever showed signs of kindness. Milo waited every day for Lorne to bring him food or water. When he came, Milo asked small questions, never pushing too far. "Is it cold outside? Do you live on a ship? Do you know who my father is?" Lorne never answered, but he didn't stop Milo either. And that gave Milo hope. In his pocket, he kept a tiny screw he had found under his bed. He didn't know how it would help, but it felt like a weapon, a small one, but his own. Back on Nova Ridge, Tariq, Nia, and Bo prepared to leave. Their ship was called the Falcon Edge. It was old but strong. Nia had rebuilt its engine. Bo had filled it with supplies. Tariq checked the route again and again. Raymond met them at the docking gate. "The seeker drone will go with you," he said. "It can track signals. If Milo sent any message, it will find it." Nia nodded. "And if someone tries to stop us?" Raymond paused. "Then you do what you must. But bring him back." Bo placed a gentle hand on Raymond's shoulder. "We'll find your boy." The ship lifted off. rising slowly through the colony dome. The people of Nova Ridge watched in silence. Everyone hoped this mission would end with good news as they traveled. Through space, the crew remained focused. Tariq stayed at the front, scanning every signal. He had lived in desert zones and hunted smugglers before. His eyes caught small changes quickly. Nia stayed with the seeker drone, adjusting its sensors. She found a weak signal from Sector 9B, a radio wave bouncing back and forth, almost like an echo. "It's not natural," she said. "Could be a message." Bio worked in the storage room, checking supplies. He also studied maps of Sector 9G, looking for places where ships could hide. He circled an area called the Grave Belt, where many old ships had been abandoned after a mining war. "That's where I'd hide," he said. After 2 days, they reached Sector 9G. It was dark and full of space debris. Their ship slowed down as they passed a field of broken metal. Giant drills floated near old cargo ships. Clouds of black dust made it hard to see. Suddenly, the seeker beeped. It had found something. Nia rushed to the screen. "There's a pattern in the signal. A voice, very weak." She played it. The voice was faint, but clear. Help. I'm in the dark, stars. So many stars." Bio stared at the screen. "That's Milo." Tariq turned the ship toward the signal. "Let's find him." They followed the trail deeper into the grave belt. The rocks grew thicker. One wrong move could destroy the ship. Nia worked fast to guide the seeker ahead, letting it scan the safest path. Then, they saw it. A large, dark freighter floated behind. 2 giant rocks. It was old, rusted, and powered down. "No lights, no signal." Bo whispered. "That's it. That's where they're hiding." Tariq scanned it. No shields, no signs of defense. But they could be inside. Nia pointed to a small docking port. "We go in quiet." They suited up and entered through the side hatch. The seeker followed, glowing softly. Inside, the ship was cold and quiet. The lights flickered. Walls were covered with wires and dust. Tariq moved ahead with his scanner. 3 life signs. One is small. "That's Milo." Bio nodded. "Let's get to him." Meanwhile, inside his locked room, Milo sat against the wall. He had counted the steps of the guards and timed their visits. He knew they came every 5 hours. But this time, they were late. Then he heard it. A soft humming sound. Not like the ship's engine. This was something else. Something moving outside his room. He leaned close to the wall. "Is someone there?" No answer. He knocked once. Then again, a small voice replied, "Milo, we're here." His eyes lit up. Outside the room, Nia worked on the lock. Bio kept watch while Tariq checked the path behind them. Almost there. Nia said, "This door was built to hold people, not keep them safe." Click. The door opened, and Milo stepped back, eyes wide. "Milo," Bio said, smiling. "We came for you." Milo ran forward and hugged him tightly. "I knew someone would come." Tariq checked him for injuries. "You're safe now. Can you walk?" "Yes," Milo said. "But one of the guards, he helped me. His name is Lorne." "The team paused. Helped you?" Nia asked. "Yes. He didn't say much, but I think he wanted to stop this." Before they could ask more, the ship shook. Alarms flashed. Tariq cursed under his breath. "They know we're here." From the other side of the ship, 2 masked figures ran toward the engine room. One of them hit the alert switch. Lights flashed red. "They're escaping with the boy." One guard shouted. But Lorne stood near the back hallway, unsure of what to do. He thought about his sister, who had died during a rebel attack years ago. She was just Milo's age. He turned away and walked into the shadows. Tariq led the team back through the hallway. The seeker scanned the safest path to the ship. Bio carried Milo on his back, but the corridor was blocked by fire. "Back way!" Nia shouted. They turned left, climbed a maintenance ladder, and crawled through a narrow vent. It was hot and tight, but they pushed through. Finally, they reached the docking port. The Falcon Edge waited outside. The Seeker opened the airlock. "Get in!" Nia yelled. They all jumped inside. The ship pulled away just as the freighter behind them began to spark. Smoke poured from its engines. Something inside had been damaged. From a distance, Raymond watched. From the colony tower, he saw a small dot on the screen, the Falcon Edge, returning. He didn't say a word, but tears ran down his cheeks. The freighter ship floated weakly in the dark. Sparks jumped from the broken engine room. Wires burned. Alarms still blinked, but no one came to fix them. Inside, the guards ran through smoke-filled halls. The boy was gone. Their mission had failed. One of the masked leaders called Crave shouted orders. "Find them. Don't let that ship escape." But it was too late. The Falcon Edge had already left the docking zone. It flew fast through Sector 9G, weaving between old wrecks and floating debris. In the main cabin, Malo sat with a blanket around his shoulders. His eyes were tired, but he stayed awake. Tariq checked the scanners. "We're clear for now." Nia looked back at Milo. "You were very brave." Milo gave a weak smile. "I just remembered what my dad always says. If you stay calm, your brain will stay sharp." Bio placed a hand on Milo's shoulder. "You've got his spirit." A few hours later, the ship stopped near a small moon to rest and repair. They didn't want to fly directly back to Nova Ridge just yet. The kidnappers might still try to follow. Inside the ship, Bio gave Milo warm food. Nia checked the ship's damage. Tariq cleaned his tools, but Milo's mind was on someone else. Lorne, the guard who had helped him. "Do you think he got out?" Milo asked. Tariq looked up. "Who?" "The one who helped me. His name was Lorne." Nia answered gently. "We didn't see him when we left. I think he wanted to stop all this," Milo said quietly. "He didn't say much, but he was kind." Bio nodded. "Sometimes people get stuck doing the wrong thing. Doesn't mean they're bad inside." Milo held the small screw he had kept in his pocket. It reminded him of the dark room, the silence, and the fear. "I don't want any other kid to go through that," he said. Tariq stared at him. "You're not just smart, kid. You're strong." Far behind, inside the broken freighter, Crave sat in the control room, red-faced with anger. His mission was ruined. The boy was gone. The buyers he had promised to meet would now turn against him. "They escaped through the vent system," one guard said. "The helper disappeared too." "Lorne!" Crave growled. I knew he was soft. He slammed his fist on the control panel. "Find the bounty ship, track it, or we're finished." But the ship's systems were failing. No signal reached far space. Crave's crew was stuck in a floating grave. Meanwhile, Lorne hid in the lower storage bay. He had escaped through the fuel pipes during the confusion. Now he sat with a small bag and an oxygen mask, waiting for the right time to leave. He looked at the photo of his sister again and whispered, "I did what I could." Back on the Falcon Edge, Nia repaired the last part of the engine. The Seeker drone floated nearby, helping her scan for threats. Milo sat with Bio and asked, "Why did you come to help me?" Bio smiled softly. "I had a daughter once. She would have been your age. I couldn't save her, but I could save you." Milo nodded slowly. "I'm sorry about your daughter." Bio squeezed his hand. "It's okay, saving you. It gives my heart peace." Nia joined them. "We can return to Nova Ridge now. Engines are ready." Tariq came to the front cabin. "Let's go home." As they neared Nova Ridge, the colony prepared for their return. Riemann stood on the watchtower, his hands tightly holding the railing. He had not slept in days. His eyes searched the skies. Then, a light flashed in the clouds. The Falcon Edge appeared, flying low. The Seeker drone sent out a friendly signal. Raymond's knees grew weak. He placed a hand over his heart. Milo. The ship landed safely. At the main dock, colony guards surrounded it, ready in case of danger. But when the door opened, no danger came out, only Milo running toward his father. "Papa!" Raymond dropped to his knees and caught his son in his arms. The crowd watched in silence, many with tears in their eyes. It was a moment no one would forget. "You came back," Raymond whispered. "I knew you would." "I knew you'd find me," Milo replied. Later, inside the safety of their home, Raymond spoke with Tariq, Nia, and Bo. "I don't know how to thank you," he said. "You brought my son home." "You already did," Bo replied. "You gave us a reason to act." Raymond brought out the reward credits. "I made a promise, 4 million credits, it's yours." But to his surprise, they didn't accept it the way he expected. Bo said, "I want only half. The rest should go to building a group that protects families like yours." Nia said, "Give me the tools and parts. I want to open a workshop to teach young minds." Tariq simply said, "I want land near the quiet hills, nothing more." Raymond looked at them with pride. "You're not just heroes. You're the reason I still believe in humanity." That evening, Milo walked to the garden. He sat near the same tree where he had last fed the birds. Before being taken, he placed the small screw on the bench. "This saved my hope," he said. The seeker drone hovered above and blinked softly. It had recorded every part of the journey. Raymond had decided to let it keep flying, guarding the colony from above. The sky above Nova Ridge was calm again, but the hearts of some were still restless. Even after Milo was safely returned, Raymond could not stop thinking about one thing. The kidnappers were still out there. They had hurt his son, and they had escaped. That thought kept Raymond awake at night. He knew it was not enough to be thankful. He had to make sure no one else would ever face what Milo did. In his lab, Raymond worked on something new. He upgraded the Seeker, made it faster, stronger, and smarter. It could now send live video, track life forms, and even defend itself if needed. "This time," Raymond whispered, "we don't wait. We finish what was started." At the same time, far away in Sector 9G, Krav, the leader of the kidnappers, had returned to one of their hidden bases, a small station inside an old mining field, surrounded by asteroid dust. He was angry. His plan had failed. His crew was smaller now. Some had escaped. Others were left behind on the broken freighter. And worst of all, the boy had escaped and survived. "The father will come after us," one of his men warned. Crave shook his head. "Let him come. We'll be ready." He gave orders to repair their station. He wanted to hide again. But secretly, he knew his time was running out. Meanwhile, Tariq, Nia, and Bo had stayed in Nova Ridge a little longer. They were tired, but none of them felt finished. One morning, Raymond called them back to his home. "I've found where the kidnappers are," Raymond said. Their signal was weak, but Seeker picked it up. He showed them a map. It pointed to an abandoned mining station in Sector 9G, hidden behind a belt of rocks. "It's risky," Nia said. "That belt is full of electric storms. Even small ships get trapped." "I'll guide you," the Seeker's voice spoke through a small speaker. Bo nodded. "Then we follow the drone." Tariq stood up. "Let's finish this." The team boarded their ship again, Falcon Edge. This time they carried more tools, stronger shields, and clearer purpose. As they entered the edge of Sector 9G, the stars around them faded. The sky turned gray. Lightning storms flashed between asteroid clouds. "This is worse than before," Nia said, gripping the controls. The Seeker flew ahead, scanning every path. "Follow my trail. Do not turn away." Rocks spun in wild circles. Some exploded with small electric blasts. The ship shook again and again. Milo watched from the base on Nova Ridge through Seeker's live camera. "Come on," he whispered. "You can do it." After hours of careful flying, the Falcon Edge reached a quiet zone behind the storm. In the middle floated the station, rusty, dark and cold. "That's the place," Tariq said. "No outside." "Guards," Nia noted. "But that doesn't mean it's empty." They floated closer and docked quietly. The seeker entered first, sending live video back to their screens. Inside, the halls were narrow and filled with shadows. Motion sensors blinked in red. Tariq pointed. "That way." "Control room." They entered the station, careful with each step. The doors creaked open. Bio carried a light shield. Nia had a control box to unlock systems. Suddenly, a door opened ahead. A voice shouted, "Stop right there." It was one of Krav's men, tall, masked, and ready to block their path. Tariq stepped forward. "We don't want to hurt anyone. Give us Krav." The man laughed. "You think we're scared of you?" Just then, the seeker flew above his head and flashed a blinding light. The man covered his eyes, and in that moment, Tariq moved forward and gently pushed him aside. Nia locked the door behind them. "We're getting close," she said. In the main room, Krav watched them on a camera. "They found us," he whispered. His last loyal men stood near him. "What now?" Krav pressed a button. "We fight or we vanish." He set the station to self-destruct in 10 minutes. Lights turned red. Alarms began to sound. Tariq and the team reached the control room. Krav was there, standing in front of the main screen. "So the father sent you again," Krav said with a cold smile. "You kidnapped a child," Bio said. "This ends here." Krav pointed to the screen. "You're too late. This station will be gone in minutes." "You'll go down with it?" Mia asked. "I won't," Krav replied. He pulled a small device and vanished through a side door. Tariq and Bio ran after him. Nia stayed and began working on the control panel. "I can stop the countdown," she said, "but I need time." Krav ran through the lower halls toward his escape pod. He opened the door and jumped in. But when he pressed the launch button, it didn't work. The screen blinked. "Locked by external device." "What?" "No," Krav shouted. A small camera turned on inside the pod. The seeker appeared on the screen. "You hurt a child," Seeker said in a calm tone. "You locked him in a room. Now you are locked in one." Krav banged on the door, but it wouldn't open. Outside, Tariq and Bio arrived and looked at him through the glass window. "You won't escape again," Tariq said. Nia finished her work. The countdown stopped with only 43 seconds left. Lights turned back to green. The station calmed. Tariq called Raymond from the ship. "We have him," Tariq said. "It's done." Later, back in Nova Ridge, Krav was placed in a high-security cell. The colony decided to judge him fairly, not with revenge, but with law. Raymond met the team again. He looked tired, but this time his face showed peace. "You finished what I couldn't," he said. "No," Bio said. "You started it. We just helped carry it to the end." Milo watched the stars that night with his father beside him. "Is it really over?" he asked. "Yes," Raymond said. "It's over." But in his heart, he knew this was more than just the end of a mission. It was the beginning of something new, a future where people would stand together when it mattered most. Days passed peacefully in Nova Ridge after the kidnappers were captured. The space colony returned to normal. Markets reopened. Children played in the domes again, and the air no longer felt heavy. But for Raymond, things were not so simple. He had made a promise, a reward of $4 million to anyone who helped bring justice to the people who kidnapped his son. And now that promise was due. Inside his study, Raymond sat quietly. A picture of Milo, smiling and safe, sat on his desk. Across from him stood Tariq, Nia, and Bio. "I called you here," Raymond began, "because I made a promise, and I'm a man of my word." He took out a small metal case and opened it. Inside were 4 credit chips, each glowing softly. "Each chip holds 1 million credits, one for each of you, and one for the seeker." The 3 looked at one another. No one reached For the chips, we didn't do it for money, Nia said. We did it because what happened to Milo was wrong. Bio nodded. And we weren't alone. You helped, Milo helped. Even the drone helped. Raymond smiled a little. Even so, a promise is a promise. Tariq stepped forward. Then keep your promise. But do something better with it. What? Do you mean? Raymond asked. Use it to protect others. Build something that can stop this from ever happening again. That night, Raymond sat with Milo. The stars were shining above the dome. Milo leaned on his father's shoulder. Are they gone forever? Milo asked. They're locked away, Raymond said. They can't hurt anyone anymore. Milo was quiet for a moment. I'm not scared now. But I was, a lot. Raymond put his arm around him. You were brave. I want to help others too, Milo said. Like they helped me. Raymond looked at his son and felt something stir deep inside. Maybe that was the answer. The next day, Raymond made an announcement across Nova Ridge and sent it to other colonies too. I promised a reward, Raymond said. But those who earned it chose something greater. So in their honor, I will use that promise to build something new, the Milo Shield program. A system of drones, sensors, and patrols to protect children across the galaxy from danger. People across the colonies were surprised. Some sent messages of thanks. Others offered help. And just like that, hope began to grow. Tariq, Nia, and Bo decided to stay longer in Nova Ridge to help build the new system. Bo worked on the drone design, using the Seeker as a base. This little guy's famous now, Bo joked as he cleaned Seeker's shell. Seeker blinked its light. Fame is not important. Safety is. Nia worked with engineers to set up satellite systems. They called them Eyes of Milo. Tariq trained local volunteers. If we want peace, he said, we must all be ready to stand for it. In the shadows of another system, a figure named Rokar watched the news about the Milo Shield program. He was once part of Krav's crew, but had escaped before the final raid. Fools, Rokar growled. They think one station makes them safe? He sat in a dark chamber with maps of colonies and shipping routes. His own crew was growing. He planned to strike again, smarter this time. They forgot about us, he said. That's their mistake. Back in Nova Ridge, Milo was attending school again. His friends welcomed him warmly, but some still whispered, "That's the boy who got taken." One said, "His dad's rich," another whispered. Milo heard them, but he stayed calm. He had changed. He had faced fear. And now he wanted to be strong, not just for himself, but for others. He joined a training group where kids learned how to use safety gear, how to call for help, and how to stay aware. "I'm not a hero," Milo said. "But I know what danger feels like. And I want to help others be ready." One day, a small ship arrived from Colony Dawnlight, asking for help. They had spotted a strange signal near their edge zone. Raymond sent Seeker to investigate. What the drone found was a message, a warning. "We are not done. Justice is only delayed." Tariq read it and narrowed his eyes. Someone is still out there. Bo checked the ship's log. This isn't Krav's work. Someone else is taking over. Nia looked at the screen. "Then our job isn't finished." Raymond stood beside them. "We will protect every child. Every family. That's what the Milo Shield stands for." Soon, Seeker units began patrolling 5 nearby colonies. Reports of missing people dropped. Crime reduced. The shield worked, but behind the stars, Rokar was moving. He sent spies to gather intel. He studied the shield, looked for weak points, and prepared for something big. "We won't attack small," Rokar said to his new crew. "We'll attack the heart." One evening, Milo found a small message on his personal tablet. It read, "You were brave once. Be brave again. The galaxy needs you." He showed it to his father. Raymond looked at the screen, thoughtful. "Do you want to help?" Milo nodded slowly. Yes. Rayman took a deep breath. Then let's prepare. He opened a new project file on his device. The name read, Project Guardian, Phase 2. 1 year later, Nova Ridge had become one of the safest colonies in the galaxy. The Milo Shield program was now active on 12 space stations and still growing. Drones flew across orbit zones, patrol teams were trained, and new technologies made it easier to stop threats before they could cause harm. But behind the peace, something dark was growing. Far away, in a hidden asteroid base, Rokar stood with his team of rebels. His eyes glowed with anger. He had studied every part of the Milo Shield. He knew its strength and its weaknesses. They think they're safe, he said coldly. But everything can be broken. He pointed at a map showing Nova Ridge. We strike where it all began. We take the child, and the shield falls. His crew, made of ex-pirates, hackers, and mercenaries, nodded. They began preparing a quiet, smart attack, one that wouldn't be noticed until it was too late. Back in Nova Ridge, Milo was no longer the scared child from before. Now 11 years old, he trained daily with the local safety squad. He had grown, confident and calm. Seeker, the drone that once helped save him, now followed him like a quiet shadow. His father, Raymond, had become a leader not just in Nova Ridge, but across other colonies too. People trusted him. But with that trust came fear. Fear that something might go wrong again. And one night, it did. An alarm sounded. Red lights blinked across the station. A security team rushed to the outer gate. A ship just passed the defense zone. Someone shouted. The ship wasn't large, but it moved fast, and it carried jamming devices blocking all scans. Within seconds, Nova Ridge lost contact with the outer sensor field. Inside the ship, Rokar smiled. They forgot fear. Let's remind them. Tariq, Nia, and Bio met in the command room. Though they had started new lives, they had stayed in Nova Ridge to protect what they helped build. We knew this might happen, Nia said. Time to act. Bio sent out a warning signal to other colonies. Let them know Nova Ridge is under attack. We may need backup. Tariq turned to the main screen. Where's Milo? Milo had just left school when Seeker blinked red and spoke. Danger. We must move. Without wasting a second, Milo followed Seeker. They headed toward a nearby security room. Suddenly, the hallway lights flickered. 2 men in dark suits appeared at the far end, Rokar's scouts. There! One of them shouted. Get the boy! Milo ducked behind a wall and hit the emergency button. A door slammed shut between him and the attackers. Seeker flew high and activated defense mode. A small electric shock sent the men running back. Thank you, Milo whispered. We must reach safety center. Seeker said. At the control center, Rayman heard the report. Attempted capture near Hall B. Milo escaped. Still in danger. Raymond felt his heart freeze. But he didn't panic. Send teams. Lock down every corridor and protect my son. Tariq led one squad toward Hall B. Nia and Bio took separate paths. The station had many escape routes, but they had to move fast. Meanwhile, Milo and Seeker moved through the ventilation system. It was small, dark, and dusty, but it was safe. Seeker showed a map. 2 more turns, then exit. They crawled quietly. Milo tried not to cough. Below them, voices echoed. He's nearby. Check the vents. Milo froze. Then a loud buzz sounded. Doors across the station shut tight. Backup security drones arrived. Tariq's voice came through the speakers. No one escapes this time. Rokar, watching from his ship hidden above. The station saw the plan falling apart. Pull out the scouts. We'll do this ourselves. He pressed a switch. Another ship uncloaked near Nova Ridge. Larger and heavily armed. It began firing stun shots at the station's shield wall. Not enough to destroy it, but enough to scare. Inside, Raymond stood firm. They want fear. Let's give them strength. He sent a signal to the Milo Shield program. Activate global response. Within minutes, defense teams from nearby colonies prepared ships. The message was clear. Nova Ridge is not alone. Inside the vent, Milo and Seeker reached the end. But as they climbed out, a figure blocked their way. Rokar himself. You again? Milo said, heart racing. Rokar stepped forward holding a weapon. You're smarter now, but not smart enough. Milo looked at Seeker. Then, he took a deep breath and pressed a small device on his belt, a silent signal. Suddenly, from behind, a metal panel broke open. Tariq jumped in with 2 drones behind him. Back away, Tariq warned. Rokar turned to fire, but Seeker shot a beam that knocked the weapon from his hand. Bio and Nia joined a second later. Rokar was surrounded. It's over, Bio said. Rokar laughed bitterly. You think this ends with me? No, Nia said. It ends with us choosing to protect, not to fear. Rokar was taken into custody. Later, Raymond hugged Milo tightly. You saved yourself, son. I'm proud. Milo smiled. I wasn't alone. He looked at Seeker, then at the team who stood by him. They were more than heroes now. They were family. The next day, Raymond gave another speech. This time, the galaxy was watching. We were attacked again. But we stood strong together. Evil doesn't stop. But neither do we. He paused, looking at his son beside him. The Milo Shield isn't just a system. It's a promise. A promise to fight fear with unity and courage. Cheers echoed from every colony. The battle had ended. But the mission, to protect the future, had just begun.